Welcome to week 7, grades 101, slope stakes and reference point, what we're going to be talking about. Getting caught up here. The overview is quite simple. The course content is not. Let's look at what I have here for what I want to learn or you to learn. Understanding transferring information from drawings to stake markings. There'll be a lot of that. It's not going to be like the grade plans that you're with all the contour lines. These will all be profiles. It'll be plotting elevations and considering distances away from the reference stake, etc. Demonstrate the difference in single line and double line staking. Some of you will get this pretty quick. Some it takes a little while, like me. Uh, it took me a while. Uh, but I have got ahead of us a little bit on this, so I won't spend so much time on the calculator, I hope. Uh, and transfer that information using to a grade stake. In other words, make a grade stake. That'll be part of your assignment. So make a single line and a double line grade stake. The difference is in double line is everything is referenced from the last known point. Trouble with that is just like using cutting a 12-inch 1x4 and using that thing, each one that you cut for the next one as a measuring device. You will have accumulation of error. In double line staking, which is the easiest, is when you reference your next elevation or distance from your last elevation or distance. So you can see that accumulation of error is more prevalent. The single line is there's a little more thinking and math to that, but we'll get through that. And so let's get back into the module, get started. There's a lot to talk about. By the way, some of this information will be coming from you'll see it mentioned, I think, uh, excavation, grading and excavation handbook. It's worth ordering if you don't have one. I honestly, really, the light came on when I read that book, when I got, especially on trying to understand the road survey stakes, which we will focus on today. The light really came on for me, and comes and goes still yet today, but mostly it's here. So let's get into the module. There are 2 or 3 videos. I'm not going to put all of this in an all-day video. So I think that I don't know. We went over the overview. This right here is that you can see me wiggling over. Take time and read that. That is chapter 1 from excavation, from the excavation and grading handbook. That is about road survey stakes, and that's what we'll be more than anything focusing on. Now, we will get the kind of real life look at it in a gridded format that helps a little bit once we get in here. So that's I think that's what I need to open up and use for the video here. I've got so much going on. Want you to know some more that this is a must read in my opinion. See what you can get out of it. This will be covering some of the information that's in this chapter 1, I believe, specifically one figure, which is 1-1, I think, is what we'll be focused on. Slope stakes and reference point video. Don't watch that yet. Watch this, read this, watch this, wait for this. I'll have it up probably tomorrow. Today being I'm not sure, but I think it's Wednesday. So, and then we have slope stakes and reference point, which is oh, let me look at that before I say read this or don't read. Yeah, you can go through this. This will give you an idea of what you're going to see. I'm going to have a video on this, but go ahead and read through it. See what you can figure out on it. Uh, it's mysterious looking, but it's really not that mysterious. You just have to pay attention to it. So we're going to keep moving on. I wanted to outline this a little bit. That's what we just looked at. That's what this video will be about, is this material. So you might want to go over it. The answers for your week 7 assignment, by the way, do that if you dare, if you want to, but I would sure wait until after this particular video right here, and I'll get it up just as soon as I can, because it'll be using these kind of illustrations or yeah, images to calculate your assignment answers. So without oh, the tailgate is a little laid back, and I'm not going to insist that you do a lot of research. It's going to be about a little bit about automated grade control using a antenna and rover setup. And there's another one from Auburn University who puts out pretty good videos. I think will be pretty good. But all I want from you, and I forgot what the directions are, is just let's look at them. It'll be worth it. I just said more slopes. I just want to, well, I'm not telling you. I don't have it. Oh, the following videos and comment on any content as familiar. I really don't want you to fret over this much. I'm not going to be harsh. Whatever you write, though, write it as if you expected somebody to read it. Just a couple of replies per student about these two videos. You'll hear them say some things that you'll be familiar with, like guys looking to locate where his ditch bottom is and what kind of slope's going to be going up to the road. There's some things in there that'll be familiar, but don't spend a whole lot of time on it. I'm not going to look too hard for anything. Just please don't text, capital. If you use the letter I, not capitalize it in a sentence. Those little things like that. But I'm not looking for a whole lot of information from you. But that's that. Now we'll get back to uh, meat and potatoes. So where is my reading material survey? Chapter 7. This is what I want, I believe. It'll take a second to get this loaded, and we'll go from there. This is chapter 1 in the grading and excavation and grading. I'm going through this. You feel free to go through it. I was just looking from a statement in here somewhere that I wanted to for trenching department. Let's see, in the first chapters. You've been working chapters probably if you need. This is a newer version and it won't let me highlight, but it says in here somewhere, you can see it if you read it, that everybody on the job site needs to understand the survey stakes. Everybody. Uh, if you want to have an efficient operation going on, and so I want you guys to be, when you graduate, I want you to be able to hit the ground running on these kinds of things, especially if you get a road job. You can be of great help early on for the folks. Uh, there's plenty of good reading in here. There's reading that talks about this, and we're going to spend some time right here. I don't know if you heard the brake squeal, but I just put them on. Uh, so this right here is a single line reference to reference point to slope stake or information stake or surveyor's information stake. This is where your set of directions are that you will end up putting on your reference stake, which is located where my arrow is right now. If anything goes wrong and you don't have an image, please call me on the phone. My number is 405-684-6828. I don't think we're going to have the problem we had the other day. So, but if you see anything you can't read it, just give me a call. Let me know. I'll try to zoom in or out of whatever I need to do. So let's let's look at what we're looking at. You know, like you did if you went through estimating, the first thing you do is see what the plans have to offer. What kind of information can you get off the plans? Well, this, it tells us, is the original ground right here. So we're starting up here at the top. So we're going to have to remove all of this dirt right here. And over on this side, it's going to be fill from here down. So hopefully the soil, the material is good enough to use down here. If it is, we'll have, as you know by now, a balanced job, which is great. We won't have anything to haul off, nor will we have to have borrow brought in, which saves a lot of money, a lot of time, which is money. So let me just try to frame this, set the stage. Here's the information stake. It contains all the information you see here. And on the side of it, the back of it, is at station number 350, 3 plus 50, this stake is 54 feet from the center line. Now there's an interesting deal here. This stake says it's 54 feet from the center line. Look at this stake right here. The last thing we need to do on this stake, and I'll get back to the stake as a whole here in a minute, is go to the center line from the reference stake, which says that it's 49 feet away. Well, that, to me, for a little while was complicated when I first got this book. But I see 54 and I see 49 and I say, where in the world is the 5 feet, you know, to make this 54 feet? Well, it's right here, because the stake says, this information stakes is telling me to set my reference stake, this stake, grade setter stake, down 1 foot lower than my elevation, than the survey elevation is 83.4, cut 1 foot and out away from me 5 feet away. So from here to here is 5 feet, and this is 1 foot lower than the information stake. I hope you understand that. That is essential. Now, how did we set this reference stake, I wonder? So we're on the ground right here, but we need to set our top stakes before we can get started cutting this slope. So we come down here, we put a stake in the ground, and we get our hand level, and we shoot back at the top of the hub right here. And whatever reason, whatever our oh, what am I trying to say? Oh, well, we just put a mark. When we can see that, we put a mark. And then we know that mark is this elevation, which is 83.4, right? So for some reason, they set a 2-foot boot. Now, I'm not going to do that. It would be the thing to do. Wherever that mark is where that mark is, and you want to start 1 foot, right, lower than that mark. So wherever that mark is, you would drop down 1 foot, and that's where your stake is going to be. That's going to be where you start, whatever that elevation is. And I found that at that elevation, 83, it's a survey, is 83.4. So the grade setter hub is 82.4. So that would be the first thing you needed to know. And I hope you got that. 83.4 is the hub at the information stake, but it tells us to set my stake, let's say I'm the grade setter, down a foot and out 5 foot. So I have to be 1 foot lower than that. So my surveyor stake is 83. I lost my place. Oh, 83.4. Is that right? I've got 83.4. No, that's the surveyor stake. So my grade setter stake is 82.4. I'm sorry. There is a ton of information, and I have a ton of notes to bail myself out. Do you see where the surveyor stake would be at an elevation of 82.4, 82 and 4/10? If the survey uh, stake is 83.4 and the survey stake tells me to drop a foot, that makes me 82.4 and 5 foot away. Now, don't, this 5 foot will come in. It's already come in handy once to ensure that we are, even though we say here we're 49, when you count this 5 foot back to the surveyor. This is the back, the side, and the other side of the surveyor hub that you see here. This, of course, will be facing the road. It's looking at us right now. Okay, so if you're with me, you're understanding that the surveyor grade setter stake is 82.4 above sea level, and it's 5 foot away from the information stake. That cleared up. Let's see what's going on. We have this dirt we got to move. So the ditch is our second objective. And here is the ditch. So remember, all the information goes back to this stake, which is 82.4. I got to highlight that on my notes because we're going to be using that a lot, I'm afraid. 82.4. So all of these subsequent elevations along here that we're looking for will be referenced from the 82.4, not the 83.4, because we dropped it a foot to start, because it told us to drop it a foot. Now, when you go, and then, the reason it says and then is because all of this information from here down is going to be put on your reference stake right here, the top stake, all of this information. And these double lines literally mean and then. So it starts out, put your reference stake down a foot, 5 foot away, and then I want the ditch to be a cut of 10 foot at 20 feet. So look at the ditch. It's going, by the way, these little grids are a foot. They're a little bit hard to count, but they are a foot. But we would go down 10 feet, right? And over 20 feet, that's the bottom of the ditch. I don't want to keep going back, we'll get dizzy, but the ditch is 10 foot down and 20 foot away, and that puts it right here. What in the world is the elevation of the flow line of the ditch? The elevation of the flow line is 82.4 minus 10 feet is 72.4 feet above sea level. That's really important because you'll need to know that if you want your water to drain, right? You don't want your ditch to be any higher than this unless you want it to drain toward us and or away from us respectively. That'll determine that. So we have not only where the ditch is in relation horizontally to the reference stake, which we said was 20 feet away because it told us that right there. It is 10 feet less, so it's at 72.4, right? Yeah, it was 82.4, now it's 72.4 at 20 feet. So we have that elevation. Now, it looks like we're going up to me, but do you see a fill anywhere on here? No, there's no fill on here. But look at the ditch, cut 10 feet. Now, let's just catch our breath right here. Cut 10 feet and come and at 20 feet. So that's that. Now the hinge point. So we're down here in this ditch and we are 10 feet below the reference stake hub, and we have a hinge point to find right here. That's the shoulder, and this is the road. This is the center line of the road. This is the end slope. This is the back slope. I should have said that earlier. So what we want to do is find the elevation of our hinge point. Well, let's do this. We got to cut 10 feet from our reference stake. So that's going to be 82, I'm sorry, we got to cut 8 feet. That's significant. Can you guess why? Because it's going to be higher than the cut 10 feet. So if we cut 8, 0, and that's really hard to read, but I can read it on my end. It's the hinge point is cut 8.8 and 0 tenths, 8 foot at 24 foot away. That gives us a lot of information. This hinge point is going to be two foot higher because of this 8 foot versus a 10 foot cut for the ditch is going to be 2 foot higher. And how far away is it going to be? It's going to be 4 foot away right here. So what is the slope or the end slope going to be? Well, it's high. What is the vertical? It's 2 foot. What is the horizontal difference in 20 foot and 24 foot? That's to the center of the ditch, to the hinge point, is, what did I just say? 2 foot, right? No, 4 foot, because it's 20 and 24. So this is 4 foot away. This is 2 foot because of the 8 foot versus the 10 foot. So what kind of slope do we have? We have a 2-to-1 slope. We have a 2-to-1 slope here. And we know now that our elevation at the hinge point is 74.4. Now, if we were doing double line, we would take our next edge of pavement would come from this known area right across here. That'd be easier, wouldn't it? But we can't do that. We're doing single line. So to find the edge of pavement, it is right here. It's telling us to cut 7 9/10 at 29 feet. So if I cut 7 9/10 versus 8 foot, which is the top of my hinge point, if I cut 7 9/10, what is the difference between 7 9/10 and 8 feet? 1/10 is my vertical. 1/10 of a foot is my vertical. So right here, I am 1/10 higher than I am right here. Look, I know that sounds insignificant, but when you're building a highway, it better be 1/10 on the money, or they won't pass it. So let's look at what we have here. At this, is this a fall? Yeah, it's a fall or a rise. It looks like we're going up, doesn't it? And we're wanting a 2% all the way from the center line to the hinge point. But let's find out what we have here. We have, how far is it from hinge point to edge of pavement? 24 versus 20. This is 4 feet. So we take I said I wasn't going to have to calculate, but I didn't. I don't think I wrote that down. I want to know what kind of slope that is. If we got 0.1 divided by 4, that equals, wait a minute, hold on. Edge of pavement, 74.5. Hinge point, 74.4. That is a tenth of an inch. And the distance is 29 versus 24. So that's 5 feet. You see where I'm getting this? 29 versus 5.4. 7.9 versus 8 is 1/10. So it's 5 feet right here. So it's not 4, it's 5 feet because of the 29 and the 24. So we take 0.1 and we divide it by 5 and we get 0.02. Guess what that is? That's 2% rise for us, a plus 2%. So we're on the right track to the edge of pavement. Edge of pavement elevation is 74.5 at 29. The hinge point is 74.4 at 24. So that's a 5-foot horizontal with a 1/10 vertical. That's a 2% grade anytime. So we're on target. Now, let's see what's next. The center line. Now we got to go from here to here. We got to get these. Let's see what the center line says. Even though we're going up, it's a cut, but it's a cut of 7 5/10. I'm thinking. I believe that's right. So what is 7 5/10? And that's 7 9/10. So we have 4/10 right here as our vertical between 29 and 49, and that would make that 20 feet from here to here, right? And we have the 7.5 versus the 7.9 at 4/10. 20 feet is the horizontal. The vertical is 4/10. So 20 feet horizontal, 4/10 vertical. If you divide 4/10 by 20, you will get 0.02, which is a 2% rise. And you will get an elevation of 74.9. That's the center line of the road. 74.9. So I think I'll quit right there. There's a lot more information that's coming in the form of a video, but go back through this. Look at what you can do. You can take, just to show you that we're not too crazy, you can take like this where did I put that down? This 20 feet right here. So 5 foot away. That's a distance of 5. And this would be a distance of 4 right here. 24 and 24. So that's distance of 4. And this is a distance of another 5 feet. That's plus 5. And this is a distance of 29 feet. And if you add those up, you get 20 plus 4 plus 5 plus 20, and you get 49 feet. So you see, that's a way to check, are we right? Is this adding up? Because one little mistake and it blows everything up. But I'm going to do what I said, as we have other videos I got to get up. please go back and review this video. Whatever you do, let me encourage you again to, I want to go one more time back into this module, and let me encourage you to read this. That figure is in here, and you'll be able to see those numbers a little easier than you were able to see them today. So go back, read that, and we'll probably put the video in that we're recording right now, right here, I guess. Is there, yeah, this video first. So I'll stick it in there, and have a good rest of the day.